Give Me Grace, a podcast by Alan and Nolan, is exclusively sponsored by the Corn Dog Company. Established in 2016, the Corn Dog Company has been serving up honey-dipped corn dog perfection in numerous locations around the country. The Corn Dog Company, home of the honey dog. With all that said, enjoy the show.
Welcome to episode 13 of Give Me Grace. This is a project that is the idea of Nolan Mickelson, and I'm here just to give us technical problems to overcome them.
We've all had our share of technical problems.
So we're going to go right into our guest because we've been keeping him waiting. And so here we go.
You might be taking a nap.
We'll see. We'll see if he's even in front of his computer. Here we go. Here we go.
Drum roll.
There he is.
All right.
Travis.
Here we go.
Awesome. Here we go. So great to see you.
Hey, it's good to see you. I see me in the background there, Nolan.
Okay, where are you?
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Number 11. This is 6th grade. Oh, am I in this one?
Yeah, hold on.
You should be. Yeah.
I should be, huh? We're in the
By the way.
class. Oh, there I am. Oh, yeah, I remember that smile. Sitting next to Cody. That's a bad smile. Okay.
I think
So here we're getting to the age where we should be able to. Can you get everybody here, Travis? I bet you can. Can you?
Yeah.
you could name everybody.
Let's see it. Let's see it.
Let's see. Maybe.
Okay, you're gonna start with the lower left, the first row. Well, we got Cody and me, right? And then start with the first row sitting down on the side Nolan isn't on. Right under Mr. Lowe.
Okay, I can't see Nolan. Talk, Nolan, and then you'll pop up.
Oh, okay. Is that the problem?
Oh, there.
I'm trying to get
There
out
you
of the
go.
way.
So
On the view.
Yeah.
On the view. Yeah.
on the view.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm
okay.
on my phone.
I
Or else
know.
I would have had the same Wi-Fi problems.
Oh,
I'm
got it.
talking.
Yeah.
Does that help?
So on the bottom row, that's Mike Hansen.
Yeah.
Is that Brandon Welker?
Yes.
Yeah. Well done.
And then, yeah. And then on the second row, talk to me, Nolan.
Let's see. We've got below Mr. Lowe. Who's that? Right below
I
Mr.
don't know
Lowe.
who that is.
I think that's Ginger,
I
right?
think that's Ginger.
Is
Yeah.
that Ginger? And I'm not sure who's next to her.
I think that's Carrie. Is that Carrie Turner?
Carrie Turner could be.
Is that?
Or is
think
that Tria
Carrie
Keller?
Turner?
Well, that's Tria Keller. Yep, that's
Tria
right.
Keller.
Tria Keller. Okay. All
And then
right.
is that Mike Clegg?
Yes.
Mike Clegg. Yep.
Next to him is Doyle.
Is it Doyle?
I think
Yeah,
so.
Doyle Peck.
Yeah, it's Doyle Peck.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Other side, right above Corky.
Oh yeah, so there's Corky and Cody on the bottom. Is that Corey Toomer?
Yeah,
think
that's
so.
Toomer. Yeah.
Next
Yeah.
to him,
Amy Gummersall.
Looks like. Yep.
I'm not sure about the next one there.
That's Colleen.
That's
Colleen.
Colleen
Oh,
too.
is it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then Marie Roberts.
Then
Yeah.
Marie. Yeah.
Above Marie.
Above Marie. I'm not
Okay.
sure who that is.
That's Duane.
Looks like Duane Alder.
Is it Duane Alder? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then next to Duane.
That's Georgie Gorton.
Yeah.
Oh, we messed up because we thought
Yeah, because
Corey
that's
Toomer, but that's Corey Toomer.
Corey in the blue shirt. Yeah.
So who was the guy below? I don't know him.
Oh, Dean McNeil.
Oh,
Dean
yeah.
McNeil.
Yeah, that
Okay.
is Dean McNeil.
Okay.
So Corey Toomer's in the blue shirt.
Yeah, that's Corey Toomer in the blue shirt.
Okay.
Literally.
All right. Next to Corey Toomer. I can't.
I don't know.
Yep.
Uh,
Marcy?
maybe.
No, Marcy's up above.
I'm not sure.
That's
I'm
gonna-
not sure who those two
I should
girls
know.
are. Right there.
The one in red's gonna bug me. Then you got Jane Ann,
Oh, yeah.
red pants.
Yeah. Next to Jane Ann.
That's Dusty Young, isn't it?
Dusty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Dusty. Yep,
Yeah.
And then in the red shirt. who is
right
that?
next to you. He's got quite a look going.
Yeah.
That's Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, it sure is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's
should've known
right
that.
above you, Travis? I don't know if I know that
Yeah,
person.
we've seen that kid above you, and I can't remember who that guy is. See, I
That
didn't.
that is Jimmy Keller.
Jimmy.
Oh,
think.
I remember Jimmy Keller.
See, I
Okay.
didn't go to Grace, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's who that is.
Okay.
Next to Jimmy, you're doing better than Kevin
Kent.
Anderson did.
I don't know who that is. The next.
That's like Kim.
That's Kim Peterson.
That is Kim. Why don't I know Kim? We were, yeah.
He changed a little from 6th grade.
Yeah, he did.
And
Well,
then-
I'm terrible at this game.
No, you're doing.
And
Kevin Anderson didn't do as well as you
Do
are.
you want to keep going, or should we move to other things? It's up to you. It's your time.
Next to Kim is John Christensen,
Yep.
and then is that Chad James?
That's Chad James.
Chad James.
I
Yeah.
can't remember that blonde kid's name.
Oh, do you know him, Travis, in the red shirt? No,
You don't.
that's isn't. Oh, wait a minute. I was thinking David Meller, but that's not David Meller.
No, David
I
Miller.
can't remember his name. I should remember his name though. I
Yeah.
remember him. Yeah, you're right. I don't know him.
Can you see 33?
Yeah. Is that Derek?
It is.
That's Derek.
Yeah, that's Derek.
Yep, that's Derek.
Bobby Reese.
Bobby Reese,
Oh,
Corey
yeah.
Kingston.
Bobby Reese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll tell you a story about him later.
Bobby
Oh,
Reese.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Corey Kingston, and then that's Kevin above him.
Yeah.
Okay. Doing
And
good.
then I don't know who that next girl
That's
is.
Kathy Kimball.
Oh, Kathy Kimball.
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me, Nolan, and so
Okay.
I can see her view.
Moving on. Next
That
to
would be Rhonda.
Yep.
And then
And I
next to Rhonda.
remember that kid right there. He left like after
Yeah.
the sixth
It
grade.
had to have been after this year. That's Robert Turner, I think.
Robert Turner.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got a story about Robert Turner.
Somebody just must have moved
We'll
out.
save it. We'll save it for Corey Kingston because I think Corey might remember. So we'll save it.
Oh,
Okay.
we can always
And-
confirm.
Yeah.
And then we got Shelly Dexter.
Kelly. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know the next two.
I think that's Marcy, and then John Call.
John Call. Yeah.
John Call.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
we were
did
talking
good.
about John Call with Kevin Anderson because in our little league basketball, Kevin Anderson's dad would always draft John Call, and
Yeah.
we couldn't beat John Call and Kevin. We just couldn't beat the two of them. They were
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us. I think we'll jump in. I think Corky's got the first group of questions tonight, right?
Oh, okay.
Hey, I want to tell you guys thanks for doing this. So this is awesome, and to get to do stuff like this, and you guys
Yeah.
have put a lot of effort and work into this. It's no small project.
Oh.
And I love podcasts too.
I-
So
And
Awesome.
yeah,
I'll
good
tell
on
you
you.
I'll tell you a funny one. I think I told Travis this, but nobody knew where Travis was. I couldn't. He's not on Facebook, and so I have my ways. I knew that is it your little brother is married to Diane that works at
Yeah,
Wade? Yeah. So
yeah.
I got a hold of her through Facebook, and I'm like, "Can you help me out? I'm looking for Travis." She goes, "Oh, it must be reunion time."
In a
So
matter of speaking, yeah, this is.
I guess I'm not the first one to bug her for your contact info.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
But-
awesome.
Well,
Okay,
I'm
so-
glad I'm glad she gives
Yeah.
out my information freely, you know.
Yeah, it defeats the purpose of not being on social media, I'm
I
sure.
guess she trusted me enough.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm glad she gave it to you.
Well,
Yeah.
so are we. So
We're
are we.
excited.
I've been so
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do you live, Travis?
I live in Preston.
You live in Preston. Awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved back to this part of the world 12 or 13 years ago.
Okay.
Wow.
Awesome. And what do you do there in Preston?
I travel out of town for work. So I'm an oil field worker
Oh, okay.
and currently working on the North Slope of Alaska.
Is that right?
Goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So-
you have a regular schedule of certain days on and certain off?
I do. So I work 3 weeks on and 3 weeks off.
Okay. Okay.
So we caught
Yeah.
you in your off time, obviously.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we pushed
Yeah.
the tech difficulties. When are you going back?
So I'm not going back till September 5th.
Oh, okay. So you got a bit. That's cool.
Yep. I've got a while.
Is that a year-round operation, or is there a downtime in the winter?
Now, the busy time is in the winter
Is that
because
right?
not very much of that field is developed roads. So they build ice roads to
Oh.
access all the exploration stuff. So all
Oh,
the
wow.
exploration is done in the winter.
Oh, wow. And
So-
how long you've been in Alaska?
I've only been in Alaska since January, but I've been in the oil field mostly
This-
forever.
Most of your
Yeah,
adult
Yeah,
work life, huh?
yeah,
So
yeah. Most of my professional life.
Okay.
have you been to
I
Texas?
did. I have. I've worked all over Texas.
I figured you
Yeah.
would have.
A little bit of oil field work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be Texas. How about like
North Dakota.
South Dakota,
Ohio.
North Dakota? Yeah, east of Billings there. You've been up there?
Yep, I've worked I've worked quite a bit around Sydney, Montana and Glendive.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, around
I'm-
Williston and Dickinson, North Dakota. So
Okay. I'm gonna
spent
go
a lot
through
of
that
time out
area.
there.
I'm gonna go through that area in 2 days, taking my daughter to college.
Hmm.
So
Oh yeah.
we'll go right through Glendive.
Tell us in Texas where you at?
So I've worked everywhere in Texas except I lived in San Antonio for a little while. But I never worked the Eagle Ford Shale.
You didn't? Okay.
I went to school in San Antonio.
Really?
But other than that, I've worked everywhere in Texas, a lot in the West Texas, like the Permian Basin and stuff, and then all those pocket
Midland, Odessa?
formations in
Mm.
Midland, Odessa,
Yeah.
Okay.
southern New Mexico in there, and all over East Texas, and along the whole I-10 corridor there.
Wow.
So what do you do specifically in the oil field?
So what I do right now is it's called drilling fluids and rig support, but that's kind of making my job sound more important than it is. I mostly just drive a truck.
Okay.
So that's like 70 or 80% of what I do.
Just
You-
okay.
Do you have to take
Yeah.
samples or something, or?
Occasionally, so I haven't been with this company for very long. So really their expectations for me are quite low and I'm okay with it. You know, I just show up and do what I'm told there and it's nice.
Driving around in a truck with the heater on, huh?
Yeah. And it doesn't work good enough, you know, still.
Very good. Well, I'm sure we'll come back to some of that when we
Yeah.
have you fill us in between high school and now. You've done that somewhat, I think. Tell us about your family.
So my family, my wife, Rebecca, And then between us, we were both married before. I've got 2 girls, and she brought 2 boys. The boys, Stephen and Ethan, which all the kids are grown, but Stephen and Ethan are autistic, so they're with us. You know, they're going to be here as long as we are. And then my girls, one of them lives in Macon, well, just outside of Macon, Georgia. And her husband run a martial arts gym. And she is in a graduate program she's going to be a counselor. She did her undergrad in economics and then never worked in that field. My oldest daughter lives right here in Preston. Her husband works at Bear in Soda, and she runs a yoga studio and teaches fitness classes. And got 4 grandkids.
Oh, 4. You're right. Right now, you're tied with Todd Hansen as having the most, but he's got one on the way. So you're gonna
oh man, stuff.
You're gonna lose the lead. Yeah. Nolan and I don't have grandkids yet, so we're a little close to that.
We're not mature enough yet for that.
No, we're not.
I'm not.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Are you?
It takes a great level of immaturity to be a grandparent. Like,
that's true. Having watched my father do it, I can attest to that. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
And it's great. Yeah. And my mom, I believe what my mom used to tell me now. She said, if I knew that grandkids were as great as they were, I would have had them first.
You get them sugared up, you get them wound up, and then you give them back to their parents, right?
Oh, yeah. Buy them whatever they want.
Yeah, they're the rental car of kids. You just give them back.
Yeah. Give them back in messy and broken.
Okay, so before we move to pets, I'm going to ask you, where do you live in Preston? Because we know Preston well enough. Where town do you live?
So I'm 2 blocks east of Big J's.
Okay. Right in town then.
Yep, right in town.
Okay. My parents are in the Heritage facility right there.
Oh yeah, right around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when I go see them, I'm in your neighborhood, huh?
Yeah, call me up. We'll go to Big J's for a shake.
That's right. I will.
That's awesome. That's
if
awesome.
You're not in Alaska, right?
I think that's literally going to be one of the consequences of having done this. I've been like, when people, it's like a low key way to get people's digits because they text me that they're in. Now I've got your number, Travis, on my grid. And so
there's no more hiding.
Pass through Preston, pass through Smithfield, look up Kevin, Kevin Anderson, stuff like that. I think that's going to be one of the consequences. I'm going to really try to do that when I get down in the area where people are. I think that's just really cool. So tell us about pets. You have any pets?
We do have pets. So we just lost our little Shih Tzu last week that we'd had forever. Everybody's still kind of sad about that. Then we have another some kind of doodle dog. But it's interesting about this one is her name is Shoma, and Ethan, the youngest boy, we got this dog for him and he named her Shoma. And Shoma was one of the characters that would show up in his art all the time. But once we got Shoma and he has this little friend, Shoma disappeared from all his artwork.
Oh, that's fantastic. Like he was waiting for her and he didn't need to draw her because she's there with him. Wow. That tells
she is his dog too.
That tells you something about his relationship with his art, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great observation. Very cool.
Yeah. And then we've got 3 cats that are outside.
Okay.
And my wife's got a bunch of chickens and bees.
Oh, cool. All right. You have chickens right there at the house?
We do. We got a little pen for them.
Nice.
I don't know if I should be putting this out in public, but I'm pretty sure we're in violation of the city standard there.
I don't know that any Preston police officers will be watching this, but they might.
Yeah, but even so, I mean, every 3rd person probably has chickens.
It's probably like fireworks in San Antonio. You're not supposed to light off fireworks, but everybody does it. So,
right.
You said you have bees, like to get the honey from the bees?
Yeah, we get the honey from them, and then we got a pretty big yard here, and we've got a few fruit trees and a nice garden, and they really help out with that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's kind of-
That's a great thing to do. More
But-
people should do that.
A lot of people are doing that. They're doing exactly what you're doing. Having chickens for the eggs, having bees for the honey. So
My dad in Elk Bend, he has chickens and he raises tomatoes and he makes bread. So like he'll have egg and tomato sandwiches for like weeks. And we checked the little app
That's awesome.
where he's like he hasn't left home in like 42 days and he's just living on his own stuff. So that's good. All right. So your spouse Rebecca, your wife Rebecca, is she from that area?
She is.
Okay.
She's lived in Preston forever.
Okay. Okay. And how'd you meet?
So that's pretty interesting because I once was on social media before Facebook, whatever it was, a long time
MySpace,
ago.
maybe. MySpace?
Yeah. And somebody told me about it. So I get on MySpace and I'm just going to look for people around home, and she was online.
Huh?
We were still dial up. So I just started talking to her at that point. And then, it took 10 years, maybe close to 10 years before I was ever good enough, I guess, Of course, I was. And then we've been married now about 12 years. Yeah. I mean, it was a long and rocky courtship, She was always telling me to straighten up. And
so she grew up in Preston?
she did. Mhm.
Okay.
What's her maiden name? Maybe
Knapp.
Knapp? I don't know.
Yep.
That's Knapp.
Yep.
Okay.
Did she know Brooks Jensen?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll ask her. Yeah.
Yeah, because Mike Hansen coached there for a while too, I think.
Yeah.
He was only with us in Grace for a year, but yeah, some connections there. Awesome.
Not the
Yeah, and
Mike-
I don't know who your parents' doctor is, but her brother is
Oh,
one of the doctors here
at the
hospital.
hospital. Yeah, I'm not
Oh,
sure.
Okay.
Well, that's cool. That's why.
Undoubtedly some connections.
But so you were in Preston before you met her, though.
No. So
No.
I met her, and at that time I was living in Alabama, and and then I'd come out here to visit parents and stuff, and
Okay.
we'd go out on a date or whatever, and then I'd go there and tromp off to whatever other parts of the world I was going, and
Wow.
we just kind of keep in touch and hang out when I was in town, and then finally I came to town and didn't leave. So
He's like, well, I better take him in. He's not going anywhere.
yeah.
Awesome. So sounds like she has siblings around there, around Preston still, at least one brother.
Yeah, and she's got a brother and a sister here in Preston, and then another brother and sister in Pokey.
Oh, okay.
Well, one in Pokey and one in Chubbuck. I know how
Oh.
this,
Chubbuck.
Chubbuck came
so
up
we've got
again.
to follow the pattern.
We missed a couple of episodes of Chubbuck. So thank you, Travis.
I love it. You're watching these episodes. We don't even have to ask you the questions. You already know what to say.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you said-
I
you
love
said-
them. I watch them.
let's bring it all the way around home to home. You called it pokey. Have you ever heard poke?
I've never heard poke.
And
Never
I always-
until this podcast.
I always
podcast.
have said on the podcast that it's my little sister Lee, but I think my mom also called it poke.
Oh,
Yeah, so my mom
The-
might.
the two of them were trying to set a trend.
I'm trying to. Yeah, I'll honor the memory of my mother by getting poke going.
That's right.
Poke. Drop the Y. All right. So you've talked quite a lot about this, what you did after high school, but fill us in a little bit of sort of timeline wise. So graduation happens in May 1989. Then what happened?
I was in the military. I went in the
Oh.
military in the National Guard. So I went to basic training between our junior and senior year
I didn't know that.
of high school.
Oh,
And
I
so
have
I was in the National Guard for our whole senior year.
okay.
And
I didn't know
and
that.
so then and then I had to go back and finish my training, and they transferred me to the 145th Field Artillery Unit in Ogden.
Okay.
So I lived down there for the next 3.5 years and kind of worked construction till my military obligation was fulfilled.
Because it was just 1 week
And
a
then,
month still, but you were bound
yeah,
to Ogden for a weekend.
yep.
Okay.
hmm And I was dating a girl from Roy, and her brother-in-law was running a geoseismic crew in the oil field in Waynesboro, Mississippi. And so I left the girl for her brother-in-law.
The siren call of the oil fields can't exist.
And
The money is good, but the hours are not.
yeah. And then ended up, so we were working along the I-10 corridor and stuff so much.
Yeah.
And I just ended up living in southern Alabama, in Monroeville, just outside of Mobile. And the oil field kind of took a downturn. It's the most fickle industry that there is.
Was that 2008? Probably.
No, so that would have been like right around 99.
Oh, okay.
And so because of a job that I had for a minute, I got interested in water treatment. San Antonio at Northwest Vista, they have a good water treatment program there.
Northwest Vista.
And so, and it's out there kind of south of Culebra, just off 1604.
That's where I live in that area.
That's where I lived, right there by 1604 in Culebra.
Do you know where Bandera and 1604 are?
I do.
That's right where I live.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You would be amazed how much different it is now. This city is just booming. It's just growing like crazy.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Were you over by Taft High School, Culebra, in 1604? Probably.
Was it Taft? Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
There's like 2 or 3 other high schools there now in this general area, but that's funny. He knows Antonio. So instead of asking him about the Bluebell, we'll ask him about Whataburger.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah. I had a Thanksgiving dinner at Whataburger in Livingston, Texas once, because it was the only place that was open.
You do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right when I was finishing college there in San Antonio, Halliburton, KBR, was recruiting at that school. And so I signed on with them and went and spent a 1.5 years in Iraq as a military contractor over there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then
what was your job there?
So water treatment. I just ran a water treatment plant for the U.S. military, just south of Baghdad there.
Wow.
And,
ever have any crazy stories?
Yeah. Well, it sucked. Yeah.
It's very hot, right? Hotter than San Antonio.
It was hot. Yeah. They'd lob, mortars and rockets at us, but they called people like me over there fobbits, because we were on a forward operating base, but we never went outside the wire, so all the people that went outside the wire, they made fun of us and called us fobbits. So I was a fobbit in Iraq.
That is a fantastic way to make fun of someone. Fobbit. Wow. That's creative.
They basically were calling you a chicken, right?
Well, yeah, like, and I'd be, so did you enjoy your shower? A nice drink of water when you got back, but
Yeah.
The banter went on and on.
So did you ever meet Dick Cheney when you worked for Halliburton?
I did not, but
shoot him in the face or anything. Okay.
No. In fact, so at that time,
he would have been vice president.
I think he had died, but he was vice president. Yeah, so I don't think he was any longer CEO there.
Yeah, he wasn't Halliburton anymore so much. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
And
so after Iraq,
I came home. I still had some property in Alabama, and my dad was working for Dan Forsgren and Thatcher, Darren Anderson's uncle.
Yeah.
And so I spent a summer working with him because he wanted me to, and then I'd kind of go back and forth and really, didn't know what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And so finally I sold all my stuff in Alabama and went back to work for Halliburton out of the Rock Springs camp. I went to work in frac there. And so all that college stuff transferred right over. It was a smooth transition.
Yeah.
And, I was driving trucks and swinging sledgehammers and stuff like that. And then that kind of took a downturn in 2019. And I couldn't come to terms with Halliburton. They wanted me to move to Williston, North Dakota, didn't want me to commute anymore. There was no way I was living there,
No.
And so, or moving my family.
Yeah.
So I worked here in town for a couple of years for Valley Ag. And then, they just like want you to go to work all the time, where the oil field, they let you go home for long periods of time. So so I went back to the oil field, and that's where I am now.
And I would imagine you can't beat the money that you make with anything local.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. The oil field guys I know here in San Antonio, they talk about, or both of us used to live in Corpus Christi. So you're on the,
We knew a lot of oil field
you're
guys.
right on the oil field. They talk about working 88 hours a week. Like I say, working,
Yeah,
driving a truck around for 88 hours a week, and then getting their per diem money, pocketing that, eating cheap, so they have all that money. But then that's what they always said, it's tough on your family life because you're gone, and then you come home, and then you're antsy to get back out to work, and it's kind of interesting life.
So I'm never antsy to get back to work. And it helps to have a good wife, because it's not easy for her either. And
Right.
my wife's kind of become like this serial vacationer, so when I come home,
out of there,
I'm just
she's
like,
out of
where
there.
are we going?
Oh,
Yeah.
There you go.
when you're home, you're
Well,
somewhere.
Yeah. Yep. And I go along, but she's a school teacher, so she has all summer off, and
Well, that's awesome. There's
she's
so
just going
much
back to work.
education in like the people we've talked to.
Yeah.
So
My wife is
many
a teacher.
educators, just educators are everywhere. It's really something.
Yeah.
What does she teach?
She teaches 5th grade.
5th grade. Who did you have for 5th grade? Was it Kingston?
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark. First one. I was starting to think that I would imagine Mr. Clark in 5th grade because everybody had Mrs. Kingston. So thank you, Travis. Mr. Clark existed. I'm so happy.
So I think I had Mrs. Kingston in 4th grade.
Oh, I had Mrs. Wilker in 4th grade. The upstairs room. You weren't up there.
Yeah. No, I wasn't up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, we'll get back to that. I've jumped ahead a little bit. Okay. So now we're caught up with you. I was just gonna ask, it sounds like you can navigate the 3 on and 3 off pretty well then. Sounds like you do okay being present where you are. So that's good.
Yep.
How often do you talk with your wife when you're in the oil field? Is it every day? Is it you have a like
Every day. Yeah. Sometimes 2 or 3 times a day.
Okay. Awesome.
Because the work pace there is slower than anywhere else I've ever been.
Okay.
And so I have time to jump on FaceTime, which what a great thing that is,
Yeah.
is to have FaceTime.
Yeah. It probably helps when you're away. That's a really good point. Working away, being able to see each other would be really good.
But I'm curious about, so when you're in Alaska, are you like way out in the boonies? Or is it a city that you stay in?
Yeah. So I stay in Dead Horse, Alaska, which is a borough. I think it's got like 300 permanent residents, but it's all oil field. You're not going to go up there and get a hotel room or, they're man camps, and
Right.
it's all oil field.
Okay.
And
So it would be like
it's
living
kind of
in
ugly.
Bancroft, but it's all men.
Yeah, yeah, there's not very many women, but there's quite a few women that work up there. But
And the place that you stay at night, is it, is it a trailer or is it like a bunkhouse?
so it's a bunch of modules that would
Okay.
be somewhat
Like a
similar to a
barracks.
shipping module, you
Oh,
know. And I have my own tiny little room with a single bed and about enough room to walk past it, and a little bathroom,
so
you know, right there.
it's
So
not great living conditions, but it works
yeah,
out.
yeah. I've stayed in places that are worse. I've stayed in hotels that are worse than that. So
Yeah.
then they have a cafeteria there, and you know, feed us as much as we want to eat.
Yeah.
So
So unlimited amount of food, huh?
I'm
yeah.
hoping Omar will put a picture of where you live,
Oh
where you
yeah.
work,
My
because
son, yeah, my son does the
I was
editing.
just looking it up and it's fantastic. You're in like the northwestern corner of Alaska even.
Yeah.
It's way up there. That's insane.
How cold does it get?
So the coldest that I saw last winter, it was like negative 73. We were out on a rig service, and they said they took weather temperatures at the derrick on the drilling rig. They said the wind chill was at negative 94 that night.
Okay.
Wow.
Because you have these huge, like, super insulated snowsuit deals.
Yeah. And you're still cold. You're still limited to just a few minutes outside.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's dangerous cold. That's
Do you
crazy.
work every day when you're working in the 3 weeks? Every day.
Yeah. Yeah. 21 days in a row.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, that's
That's
very
what I
interesting.
say. People talk
Just-
about 88-hour work weeks.
Is Prudhoe Bay, is there a city there? Are there people there?
No. So right there at Prudhoe Bay, Hillcorp, which used to be BP. Hillcorp bought out BP, all the upstream BP stuff. They've
Okay.
got facilities right there on Prudhoe Bay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And there's, you know, well sites and drilling rigs and stuff right there on the ocean.
And so the 300 permanent residents, they're just in probably just support roles. They're running gas
Yeah.
eateries and
Hmm.
grocery stores and stuff like that.
So there is one kind of grocery store there. There's no restaurants, but all the camps have cafeterias and
Yeah.
spike rooms, they call them. And anybody can eat at any one of the camps. So
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's fascinating because you're probably the first person I've met that works there, lives there, that's just interesting to me because
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting a picture. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie The Thing, John Carpenter, early 80s, Kurt Russell.
I don't watch
I
scary
haven't.
movies.
Check it out before you go back to Alaska. Check it out, because that's the vibe I'm getting. They're like in the Arctic Circle in the North Tundra on some kind of a mining science camp or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's where the horror begins. So
The most I know about Alaska, there for a while, a few years ago, I really got into that show Gold Rush.
Oh yeah.
I love that show. I kind of
Yeah.
got out of the habit of watching it, but that's about what I know of Alaska.
So they're kind of, from what I've watched in that show, they're mostly in like the nice parts of Alaska. That is not where I am at all.
You're in the colder, 73 below
Yeah.
zero.
Yeah. And it's flat, and the only structure there is super utilitarian, and it's all oil field.
And you have to get used to that. What is it? All night, all the time, or all day, all the time, or
Yeah. So I work nights mostly when I'm up there. It works great with my flight schedules, getting home and getting up there.
yeah.
And I remember it was May 16th, and I stopped on the road to take some pictures of some bears. And I noticed it's 3 in the morning, like 3:15 in the morning, and the sun hadn't set. And that was the first time that I noticed the sun hadn't set.
Wow.
But in January up there, it never came up.
Yeah.
You know, there was 6 weeks that the sun never came above the horizon.
That's just so odd. But
So you're due north of Fairbanks. How do you fly into Dead Horse? Is there like an airstrip there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So there's commercial flights in and out of there every day.
That's impressive. So that might be the biggest operation is the airfield.
Yeah, for sure it is.
So yeah, you're several hundred miles north of the Arctic Circle.
Yeah, I think what, like 400, I think.
That's pretty cool. All right. There you go.
Hmm.
I got my little boring job where I can't even get on Wi-Fi and you're going to the edge of the
oh,
all right.
You don't romanticize it because
he would trade his
No.
73 below zero for
yeah.
100. It feels like 110 in Corpus or in San Antonio.
Yeah, and there's days like, what am I doing here? You know, you got to have that argument with yourself just not to go to the airport and get on a plane and go home.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. All right. We're ready for Nolan's questions.
All right. Now we're going to get some fun questions for you. So, what's your favorite food?
So it would be probably a toss up between Mexican and American barbecue.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
like,
San Antonio.
like burgers and steaks. Yeah, that is San Antonio.
Describe San Antonio cuisine.
Right.
So when you're grilling, what do you throw on? What's your preferred?
So I really like to grill steaks, but on the pellet smoker, I like to throw chuck roasts on there and do them kind of brisket style, but then I don't have this huge, 10-pound chunk of meat.
Yeah.
So I'll smoke it and shred it and then turn it into tacos.
Ooh.
Okay, what's from the grill to Mexican food? There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best of both worlds.
So knowing that how long did you live in San Antonio?
So 2.5 years.
Did you have a favorite barbecue spot?
So no, but I know that I went to Bill Miller's all the time,
Everyone, Bill Miller's, yeah. Oh man, that's so funny. It's like 3 or 4 miles away from where I live is where you were at. So Mexican food, okay, I love Mexican food too. If someone told you, I'm going to take you to your favorite Mexican restaurant, regardless whether it's in Alabama, Alaska, Texas, Idaho, Utah, where would you go?
I would go to El Toro in Logan.
Logan, El Toro. I think I've eaten there before.
It sounds a little familiar.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's authentic.
Yeah, San Antonio is different. They call it Tex-Mex, so it's a little calmed down. It's not. You can find authentic, but it's not truly authentic. But people think I'm funny.
I like that Jalisco style of food that they make there too. Yeah,
they put like a gravy on everything. It's still good. So
yeah.
All right, now we're making us hungry for some brisket tacos. But tell us what's your favorite beverage to go with your Mexican food and your steak?
Well, Diet Coke.
Diet Coke still. Huh?
Yeah. Well, I drink that stuff like it's okay. It's
Not Coke Zero.
Not Coke Zero, Diet Coke.
So many people are onto Coke Zero nowadays. It's hard to find it in the grocery store.
That's what we drink, Dr. Pepper Zero and Coke Zero if we're gonna drink. Yeah.
You're not afraid of the aspartame, whatever.
Everybody does
I'm not,
something, Nolan.
You're not afraid of anything? Is that what you said?
And everybody
I'm not afraid of aspartame. There's lots of other things that are going to kill me before aspartame gets there.
One thing or another, it's going to get us, right?
Yeah. If you live long enough, you're going to get cancer from something. It might as well be aspartame.
Right.
Yeah. So you got the Diet Coke and the Mexican food and the barbecue. And then for dessert, what are you having for dessert?
So my wife makes really good apple pie, and we bottle our own pie filling here.
Oh,
but most
from your trees, from your apple trees,
from our trees, yeah. But it's Rebecca's recipe, and she's over there, and got the potion going. She just tells me to peel and cut apples. So
What kind of apple?
Doing what you're told, just like in your profession. Just do what I'm told.
yeah, yeah. So we have Golden Delicious, Macintosh, and Honeycrisp, and so whatever is in the bottle is a composite mixture for sure.
Oh, nice. So a little paella mode, maybe.
Yeah, and we kind of do this thing where Rebecca and I'll sneak off and go to Big J's, and I get an Oreo shake. So it's got to be a toss-up between her apple pie and an Oreo shake from Big J's.
So let me ask you, because you're talking about Preston. When I was there last, Polar Bear hadn't opened quite yet. The building was there, but they hadn't opened yet. Have you been to the Polar Bear?
I have, yeah. And it's open. They got this cool rotating sign.
Okay.
It's burgers and shakes, you know. So we still go to Big J's mostly because it's 2 blocks away.
Yeah. Polar Bear supposedly has a drink called an Iron Port and Cherry. We used to get that when
I don't know.
Have you heard of it? It's almost like
I haven't.
It's almost like a sarsaparilla type drink. I think that Preston is one of the only places you can get it still, and it's at the Polar Bear. But all right,
well, I'm going to go to the Polar Bear tomorrow and see if it's there.
Yeah, try it.
Yeah.
Big J's over Polar Bear, mainly because it's closer, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, I love both of those spots. What kind of music do you listen to now, and what did you listen to back in the day?
So I listen to music, a lot of music. My all-time favorite band, though, is Metallica. You know, but
I remembered you being a rocker. You were a rocker.
I remember that. I remember you as a Metallica guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it still is. And, but I listen to all kinds of music, you know, and I kind of like, there's like a movement in country music now, and I kind of like where that's going. And if I pulled up my playlist, you know, it might be like Metallica, then Elton John, Zach Bryan, you know, the Bee Gees, you know, you would get 5 different genres in 5 songs. So,
okay. I don't know why I remember that you really liked Motley Crue. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I liked Motley Crue.
Okay. I don't know why.
I kind of didn't carry that with me, you know, but definitely when it comes on the radio, I listen to it and, you know, sing along, rock out like I still have hair, you know. But.
Hey, that's what you got to do. You still rock it as if you had it.
Yeah.
We can headbang without the hair, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Metallica, they're all old and gray and bald now, too. So, yeah.
So that's cool that you still listen to some of the same music, but you've branched out into even the Bee Gees, huh?
Yeah. And classic rock too, you know, but that's what I listened to with my dad, you know, so he was listening to like CCR and Waylon Jennings and, you know, 3 Dog Night. Yeah. And I still listen to that kind of music.
Yeah. Your hobbies, what do you do when you got 3 weeks off?
I still hunt and fish all the time. Okay. Go hunting and fishing with my brother. He's still in Grace there. Okay. And
Lance,
a couple of years ago, yep. And a couple of years ago, I started taking guitar lessons. So
do you got a guitar?
I do that. I do have a guitar. Yeah.
Come on.
That's awesome.
Let's hear it. Let's hear what you got.
Oh, man.
I'm going to put him on the spot, but I mean, you're taking lessons. We'll just use that as the caveat, but show us.
Man, now I'm all of a sudden nervous here, you know. I have performance anxiety.
We're not asking. I mean, you had your guitar handy because I know you want.
Well, I'm in my room here, which is kind of my music room.
Okay.
And I filled it up with a whole bunch of gear that I really love, and all this gear exceeds my ability to use it.
Well, you know, the Beatles didn't start out playing their best hits. They had to work their way up. So,
right. So,
gotta start somewhere.
Here's a little Metallica.
Okay.
Oh, are you playing? Maybe it's,
Yeah.
We couldn't hear any of that.
Oh, really?
that's
Which
weird. Yeah.
on or on? Yeah.
Why
Huh.
wouldn't we be able to hear the music? It's just open air.
Are you using a certain mic?
Yeah. So I am on my hearing aids.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, that's why you couldn't hear. I don't know if I can disconnect them.
Huh. I would really go for some acoustic Metallica. That would be cool.
I'll try it again.
Okay.
Can you hear it?
No.
No.
Oh, we'll have to. I
No.
don't know what's going on there.
You know what you could do?
Oh, just record something and send it to
Yeah,
us.
you
And then
could
we'll
record
just
it and
put
send
it
it.
in.
We'll add it into your episode.
Yeah, we'll just put
Okay.
That would
Yeah.
be cool.
Yeah, that would be
Okay,
cool.
I will.
Which song were you playing?
Nothing else matters.
Oh, okay. That's good.
You have to get that.
Yeah, we would love to hear that. That would be cool. All right. So when you guys go on your little vacations, what's some of your favorite spots to go?
Well, we go to Phoenix. We just went down there a few weeks ago. We went down to watch the Braves play the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
So we went down there and caught a couple of baseball games. We spend every Christmas in Orlando.
Okay.
So we'll go there for Christmas. And I think Rebecca's got like a girls' retreat or something. Here in a week or two, she's going to Las Vegas to watch a Shania Twain concert.
Well, I'll bet she is. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
So
That's funny.
Girls go to Vegas and don't tell you what they did in Vegas, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I
Before
know.
you
I
know
could
it, they're
just,
seeing
it's
Donny
like,
Osmond or something.
yeah. 50-year-old school teachers gone wild, Look for it on YouTube.
Yeah, they probably get more views than we do.
That's awesome. Huh.
So, oh, that's cool.
Give Me Grace, a podcast by Alan and Nolan, will return after these brief messages. Now back to this episode of Give Me Grace, a podcast by Alan and Nolan.
Yeah, I think we've covered the faves.
Well, I do want to ask, you mentioned at the beginning you listen to podcasts. What podcast do you listen to?
So my favorite podcast is Freakonomics.
Freaking on.
And
Yeah.
and I love that book too,
Yeah.
And they've got on that Freakonomics, they've got several like the economics of everyday things and people I mostly admire. And I listen to those three. And then like Legends of the Old West, Radio Lab. I'll check in with Joe Rogan, but not too faithfully,
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. There's a podcast that I listen to. I pick and choose, but it's called 60 Songs That Explain the 90s. And they do a whole episode on a song. And I listened to the Metallica one, the Metallica episode.
Oh yeah.
It was
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So there were a couple, I can't remember what song it was, but they just take a song and they just the host just does a good job. That's a fun way to like kind of integrate music and podcasts. So anyways.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna look that up. And I love 90s music anyway. I liked the whole grunge thing and
Yeah. Yeah. I listened to the Shania Twain where they had a Shania Twain episode too. 100%.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and country music was great in the 90s too,
That's
Shania Twain wasn't my
crossover.
favorite, but
Yeah.
Garth Brooks was great,
Yeah. Yeah, that crossover that happened in the mid 90s was really interesting. So
I'm
now
kind of worried about music and art, honestly, now, and I'm glad it's kind of profound that you guys asked that question, whether you meant to be or not, because there's so much AI generated stuff, and it's like
to
I
say,
worry a little bit about the artistic side of music, you know.
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, we wonder in the back of our minds when the last true musical artist will be. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
we wanted to ask about music because it's the one thing of our favorites that may have changed the most or may not have changed at all. And it's really been interesting as we've done these episodes. Like, I kind of stick to my high school music mostly. And like my kids will tell me, hey, you want to check out this new band? And I try, and I'm just like, no, I can't do it. But your musical tastes have evolved enough to include others, and it's really interesting. And it tells us a lot. I think music tells us a lot about people. The music
It
they
does.
listen to, if they're open-minded enough to listen to other types of music, or they're really kind of settled in on their type of music. So uh, it's really interesting. And I should go back. You talked about fishing and hunting. What's the thing that you've hunted or the fish that you've caught, your best fish story or your best hunting story?
Good question.
So my best fish story for sure was in Cabo San Lucas
Okay.
and catching marlin, you know.
There,
So yeah,
it's a lot of fight, right? They put up a
it
big
is.
fight.
It's a lot of fight, and it's a huge fish, and it's great. But honestly, like if I can just load my grandson or my family and stuff up in a little boat, and we go out here to these little lakes and catch little bass and bluegill, you know, that's
You're good too.
the good life right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. All right. We covered
Awesome.
your hobbies
Yeah.
and your favorites.
Awesome. Okay. So now we're going to go in the Wayback Machine. We see evidence that you attended Grace Elementary. Was that the
Mhm.
whole time in elementary school?
No, um, we moved. My parents moved back to Grace. They were from Grace,
Okay.
but my dad, when I was little, he went to Western Wyoming Technical College over there and worked at the Kemmer Naughton power plant for the power company and did an apprenticeship there. Then once he finished that, then he got the job at the plant in Grace.
Yeah, I remember he
And we
worked down
moved
there.
back.
And you
Yeah.
guys lived down there in the complex, right?
Yeah, yeah. That was such a great place to grow up too.
I bet.
Yeah, it was. Me and my brother talk about it all the time, you know, because we were kind of feral kids, you know. It was just outside all the time and exploring and at the river and in the river and
Yeah, because you go down and you're like all on your own. There's like 4, 5, 6
yeah,
houses, whatever, down there next to the
yeah,
farm. That's all there is. It's amazing.
yeah. And Jake Cladis lived down there too, you know, and so we
Right.
were, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
You said it was the greatest place to grow up just because you could explore, you were in nature.
Yeah. And we kind of learned to be resourceful, but we had expectations as kids too, you know, we had our responsibilities, you know, and I think some of the passions that I have now, especially with hunting and fishing,
Right.
it was from growing up right down there on the river, you know, and hanging out with my dad and grandpa and brother. And, you know, I couldn't have asked for a better childhood.
Good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I remember, you'll have to tell me. I think I remember that your mom was my Cub Scout leader at some point. Is that possible?
I think so.
She was a
Yeah.
band leader, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember coming down to the power plant, down to your place down there once or twice with Cub
So I
Scout.
remember I had a birthday party.
Right. This is gonna
So
get
we
good.
had to be like in 4th or 5th grade or whatever. And I remember the only gift I remember was the one Corky gave me. You know what it was?
I'm
It
afraid
was
to ask.
Incredible Hulk underwear.
Wow.
If
I
you
don't
still
know
have
what
that,
would've
that
gone
would be
into that.
amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it might not be good TV,
And here they are.
Oh, if you've seen some of the episodes, the
They
best
still
TV is the
fit.
old relics that come out.
Yeah,
Oh, man. That's
yeah,
awesome.
the pictures with Shelley.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was great, right?
How does
yeah.
how does a little dude give another little dude underwear for his birthday? I don't even know how that
I
happened.
don't know, but I remember the laughter too, when I opened that up.
I think here's my theory. When you're about that age and you don't know what to get somebody for their birthday, you get them what you would want. So
Yeah.
you
Oh,
also
yeah.
probably coveted those. You probably like, here's your gift, but man, if you don't like it, I'll just take it back.
Well, that's a fine theory. Let me ask this question. Were they wrapped? Were they new?
Yeah, they were new.
Okay. All right.
They didn't look like they'd been repackaged.
I'm
Incredible,
so
Incredible Hulk
happy.
underwear.
Incredible Hulk underwear.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
That's an
something.
amazing memory. Do you remember giving him that?
No. Of course I don't. No, I would love
Yeah.
to, because I would love to know how that came about. I don't know. Maybe I'm like, Mom, I have a birthday party. She says, run up to Chadwick's and see what they got. I don't.
Or it could have been like, oh, I just got you this underwear. Why don't we just wrap that up?
We're around the same size, so that tracks too. I don't know. That's awesome.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that was a good
Such an
one.
unexpected gem from your memory. All right. So, Mr. Lowe's class. Do you remember anything from Mr. Lowe's class from behind you?
I do. I remember we had classroom pets. Remember the aquariums and
Yeah, I think I do. On the side
and
there.
stuff like that. Yeah.
The windows were in the back of the room, as I recall, and then
Yeah.
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 What about Travis? If you'll see your haircut and you got that part, that blonde hair and that part down the middle, that's like that. That's some good looking salad you got going on there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when that became a full-grown mullet with the butt cut, the part in the middle there, that was those were the days there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the 11, my wife's like, is that Green Bay Packers? And I'm like, I think it was just a generic.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, generic
Yeah, and then-
Kmart or something.
but-
We had a
see,
lot of those. Derek
Christian-
had something like it.
John
Christensen's got 11 too.
John Christensen's got the 11, the green and white.
Wow.
So-
How about that?
I saw a picture from Grace Elementary on picture day, like half the class was dressed up in their Cub Scout uniforms.
Oh, is that right?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I remember putting on the Cub Scout shirt to go to school on
Yeah.
Cub Scout Day.
Yeah, because I think we just after school just take the bus to wherever we were going, probably
Yeah.
down to your place or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
or over at the church where they had some
Yeah.
of the meetings, probably. Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, so junior high. What about teachers in junior high? Who stands out?
So the one that stands out is Mr. Washburn, for sure, which I liked social studies, but now we're to the Bobby Reese story. So we were sitting in social studies, me and Bobby was sitting in front of me, I think. For whatever reason, we just started fighting in social studies class.
Wow.
Washburn comes over and he grabs us, and he's got one of us in each hand facing each other, and he tells us, I'll never forget, if there's rumbling in my class, you're rumbling with me. And then he grabs us and knocks our heads together.
Oh man. What?
Yeah, but like it wasn't a serious knock to get a concussion or whatever. But you know what? We stopped and we shut up and we sat down in our desks and rubbed our heads for the rest of the hour.
He just had you, and then he just goes bonk.
Yeah, and he's like, if you want to rumble in my class, you rumble with me, and then bonked us.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kind of like the old, if you want to fight, fight me. If you want to fight,
Yeah.
fight me.
As these podcasts go, we're gonna have to, as these episodes go, we're gonna have to build a list of all the stuff that our teachers did that you can't do now.
Right.
That's got to be that's number one on the list. That's worse
The
than paddling,
takeaway, right?
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brett Keller talked about Washburn too, right? I think.
Yeah, the shoulder roll.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh
one-
yeah.
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 So
Awesome.
Bobby Reese, I think it was in Mr. Wilker's math class, got in a fight with Matt Turner. Do you guys remember that? And Matt was very little at that time, and Bobby,
That was my size. Yeah.
and somehow Matt got up on the desk and like Superman punched Bobby. And then I think Bobby was just so shocked that it happened that he was kind of like, okay, we're good. Like he respected Matt then after that, like, okay.
Wow.
You don't remember that one?
No.
Yeah, we'll have to ask Matt about that one.
And Corey also got in a fight with Bobby Reese in our senior year at the football game because he played for Soda by the
Oh,
time.
did he? Is that where he
Yeah.
moved to?
Yeah.
Bobby was just a big kid, and I
course.
don't know, maybe that's why everybody wanted to get in a fight
Found
with the big
himself in
kid.
fights. Yeah.
You know, I don't think me personally, I won't speak for you guys. I don't think Bobby really got treated very well though. I'm not sure, you know, exactly, but
Yeah.
it just seemed like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that
he didn't
would
get
align
treated
with
very well.
I think he was on the defensive a lot. I think you're right, Travis.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can speak for me on that one too, I'm sure. Yeah, I think you're right.
I think, Travis, you bring up a good point. And when I had this idea, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to everybody is because there are some of us that didn't have a great junior high or high school experience.
Right.
And I wanted to hear that. I didn't want to hear just it was all great and we all had such a good time and we're all friends. It wasn't the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
There were people that were bullied, there were people that were bullies, you know, and people that tease people and people that got teased. And I was talking to Crystal today and I kind of brought that up. And she says, you know what? We were just kids trying to figure out who we were and where we were in life.
Yeah.
And so it escalated as we had our own bad days. You know, you run into someone else who's maybe having a bad day and Mr. Washburn has to take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Now, I interrupted you though, Travis. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you know, and at different times in our lives anyway, you know, some people we just get along better with than others, you know, because of common interests and I think especially like that junior high age, we just didn't. I don't think people in general in the junior high age really know how to deal with that, you know, because, you know, as we got older, at least from my perception, a lot of that stuff just kind of went away, you know.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, and you know, any of us who have had kids go through junior high, middle school, you know,
Yeah.
the first ones to tell them it's awful. It's the worst thing. Just get through
Yeah.
it. There are things about it that you just won't like. So yeah. Now I'm looking at that picture and I said that was Robert Turner up on the top row. That's Bobby Reese,
Bobby Reese, the big guy with the glasses.
isn't it? With the striped shirt, top row?
Bobby Reese is next to Derek.
Yeah.
Red shirt.
No, that's Dean McNeil, I thought.
No, Dean McNeil is down.
Oh,
next to
so,
Amy
oh, so
Gerson.
Bobby Reese is next to Corey, between Corey and Derek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that top guy is Robert Turner. Okay, got it. Okay, very good. All right. So what about high school? What stands out? Teachers or experiences?
Mrs. Harris was my favorite teacher, you know. Mr. Smith too, but I kind of needed those hard-nosed teachers, right? And then Mrs. Thursby, who certainly wasn't hard-nosed, you know, definitely one of my favorite teachers there. But and you know, Brett, when he told that story, you know, about Mrs. Harris where she had to put on her mean face, I promise you it was me standing out there in the office getting the mean face.
You remember what you did, or you'd rather not remember
Well,
that?
I was in there a lot. You know, so who knows? But when he told that story, you know, I'm like, yeah, I guarantee you, you know.
Travis,
I'm glad he didn't, out me, but I'm pretty sure it was me.
I was hoping that you would talk about Mrs. Harris because we were in the typing class with Mrs. Harris, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know who did it, but someone inflated a thing that looks like a balloon, but it's not a balloon.
I remember that. That wasn't me though, but it was the people, that I hung out with. Yeah, I remember
Oh,
that.
that was hilarious.
That's funny.
But you don't want to out them, right? Or maybe you're gonna
I'm
out
pretty sure it was Derek.
I think it may have been.
Yeah.
Oh boy, those were good times. I can't remember, was that freshman year?
That was freshman year. Yeah.
Typing class. Oh, we had good times.
I
And
didn't
then,
take typing until senior year, I don't think.
well, that was keyboarding with Hanson.
Yeah.
I took
Oh, but there was
typing.
typing too. I guess I did take typing at some
Took
point.
typing as a freshman, and we had those,
Okay.
real typewriters, and then you
Yeah.
gotta hit the thing and it goes over. And
Yeah.
but man, we gave her a lot of problem, didn't we, in that typing class?
Yeah. And I remember what she told me because she moved me up to the front of the class and she said, I taught your dad in school and there is nothing you can get away with.
Oh, dang.
I couldn't wait to get home and tell my dad, so you weren't very good in Mrs. Harris's class, were you?
Oh,
That's
do,
awesome.
do you remember Mrs. Olson in government class?
I do. Yeah.
I told
That
her
was one of my favorite classes,
That was a fun
senior
class,
year
too.
government. Mhm.
Yeah, that was fun too. Do you remember? I've told the story a few times where Jared Rasmussen put his arm around her and she grabbed his arm and put it behind his back.
Yeah.
She wouldn't
Yeah.
take much crap either. And she had that crew cut haircut.
Yeah.
She was fun though. I liked her.
Yeah, I did too. I liked that class.
And I remember another class I had with you was Mr. Gentry's business math class. I think you were in that class.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, I was in that class. I hated math.
That's why I took business math, because I was like, I wasn't very good at algebra until later
Yeah.
on. But, oh man, we had good times in class, I remember.
It was good times.
Yeah. Awesome.
Sorry, we were running down memory road too much.
That's
but
okay. No, there's no too much. I don't know what too much means in this situation. So yeah, so I was thinking about that when you said you loved the government class. You had done basic training before senior year, you said.
I did. Yeah.
So you had some skin in the game by the time you came back for senior year. I for one didn't really realize that you had done that or
Didn't know that.
what you had going on in your life, but
Yeah.
you were on your way. That's
Where did you go for basic training?
Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Wow. That's before you were a senior. Is that
Yeah.
still done at that age? Do you know?
I don't know if it's still done or if it was kind of an experimental thing there, but I know that I signed my enlistment papers on my 17th birthday.
Oh
Oh,
wow. That's
okay.
amazing.
Wow. How about that? That's really cool. That's really cool. To know that you wanted to make that big of a commitment that early, I think is impressive. Because that's a commitment.
Yeah.
It is. I maybe didn't realize the level of commitment that it was, but I knew I wanted to be military. My grandpa and my dad were military. And when this program came up and the recruiter talked to me about it, I was like, yeah, I'll go to basic training. I don't have to move pipe.
They're going after the farm boys. Hey, there's no pipe. Sign up
Yep.
in here. That's awesome. Did you when you moved pipe, did you just ride your bike up the hill and work for the Jorgensens?
No. So I moved pipe either for Gene and Karen Olson, and Jay Turner.
Oh
So,
yeah, Jay's out there. Yeah, Olson too.
yeah.
Cool. All right. So a story about others. You've told some stories. Does anything else come to mind? A story about someone from our grad class where you can
Yeah. So I got
Husband
two that I want to tell you.
Awesome.
So Derek Viewig and we were camped down on the river, down at the plant. We'd been swimming and everything, and we were going to spend the night down there. And it came time to get out of our swimming clothes. Well, Derek goes to pull his pants up, and he's got a pocket full of Strike Anywhere matches. And so those matches lit in his pocket.
I think I remember hearing about that.
So he's jumping around and he's trying to put this fire in his pants out. I am dying laughing, and he finally gets his pants back off and everything. And he looks at me and he said, "It's not effing funny."
You should have pushed him in the river.
Yeah.
That would have been a good excuse.
Drop and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you guys might remember this one because it ended in an assembly.
Oh,
But Jared Rass used to get, we called them cherry bombs that they'd use to scare the elk out of their haystacks and stuff.
like a small.
Yeah, big
Small
giant
stick bomb.
firecracker like an M80. Yeah.
Okay.
And he brings one of these to school. It's our senior year. We're upstairs, between the lockers where that little storage room was. There was a garbage can there. So we lit that firecracker, dropped it in the garbage can. And of course, it blew up and made a racket and had a little bit of a fire in there. And so I don't expect it to be this big a deal, So I'm telling Jared, because Jared wanted to brag about it, I'm in the military at this time, and I'm thinking, I'm in so much trouble. And I'm telling Jared, you don't tell anybody, And then later that day, we had an assembly where they talked about setting fires in garbage cans and stuff. And Jared's like looking at me, and I'm just like, shh, don't you tell. I thought for sure I was going to jail and getting kicked out of the Army.
So he kept it a secret then?
He did. He kept it a secret.
They never found out who did it, huh?
Yeah. So it's out there now, as far as I know, until this day that Jared and I were the only ones that knew we blew up a garbage can.
Well, the teachers who would have been the teachers now or then may not even be here anymore. So
yeah, statute of limitations on cherry bombs.
That's why
less than 40 years.
That's why this is fun, because we can tell on people, but there's nothing that people could really do about it. So
right.
It's just fun. Everybody knows it was just all in fun, just kids being bored, doing crazy stuff. And I'm really glad that you shared a story about Jared and Derek, because that's all we have now is our stories that we can remember them by. And they were fun guys. I mean,
yeah, they were fun guys and great friends, and we got in a lot of trouble with those guys.
Yeah.
So,
I did too. One thing, Jared and I lived down, Lego, and I would sometimes drive my parents' big brown Pontiac, and he had a big brown Ford, and man, we could get those cars moving pretty fast on the highway between Grace and Lego, and we'd pass each other, and then we'd pass each other, and man, some good stories. Do you have any stories about Lance Cannon, or you didn't hang out with him too much?
I was friends with him, but I really didn't hang out with him all that much.
I think David Miller's gonna be the one that's gonna tell us the Lance.
Yeah, him and Dave were good friends.
They were. So
I worked with Lance Cannon for Kevin Smith.
Yeah, you worked for everybody.
Well,
you worked with and for everybody.
It's because I wasn't very good at stuff, so I had to move around.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Did you ask him? I think, what's something from the time that you think about?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't ask that one. I skipped it. Yeah, what do you think? What do you think about regularly from your time growing up in Grace?
So, really, mostly like growing up down there at the plant and just having all that space, all that freedom, friends, and still, I was always hanging out. I mean, me and my brother, we would fight like brothers do, but still we just hung out and did so much. And, we were always going fishing together, or riding bikes or riding horses or hunting. And we still do that, every chance that we have to get together and go visit the old fishing holes. And we hunt in the same place we did while we were kids, and it's really important for me to be able to do that stuff still, because there was some lag time in there when I was off, living other places. So
How much younger is Lance than you are?
2 years
Okay.
to the day.
Okay.
To the day. Wow.
Same birthday.
Okay.
I felt like twins at times then.
But
Yeah.
so
I
you
never got my own birthday cake.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
remember giving him incredible
Hulk underwear.
So you were usually bigger than Lance, but Lance is bigger than you now, right?
Yeah.
Lance
He's
is a big
guy now.
Yeah, he's big.
Yeah.
So you try to not have fights with him anymore?
Yeah, I try to avoid them, and it takes so long to heal now,
That's true.
But we still play jokes on each other all
That's
the time.
good.
That's awesome.
Like putting cherry bombs in their garbage cans or
Yeah, stuff like that, a rock under their sleeping bag or, stuff like that.
just fun brother type stuff, right?
Yeah.
It occurs to me, with your dad working down at the plant, I might have worked with him one summer.
Maybe.
Right? I don't really remember the guys except for the supervisor guy, and I can't remember his name, but if I were prompted, I would remember. But I remember him. The one thing that he always showed me, or that the guys always talked about, was when there were cows in the river. They were fishing cows out of the river.
Really?
Yeah, it was before I worked there, but they had pictures of it and stuff.
Because
Wow.
if they got down in there, they might get caught or
Well, I think the cows were like floundering, and they were like rescuing them out of the river.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyways,
Interesting.
yeah.
All right. We ready for
Yeah,
second?
we are. Go ahead.
All right. So you live in Preston, and we're gonna ask you about Napoleon Dynamite. Where did you live 20 years ago when Napoleon Dynamite came out?
I was in San Antonio.
Okay. So was I.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you watch it?
I did. So some guys that I worked with
Okay.
knew that I was from Idaho, and they were like, check this movie out. So I watched it and I thought it was great, and
Yeah.
they'd ask me things like, so are people from Idaho really like that? And I'd always be like, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
No, it occurs to me, this is amazing. I think all three of us saw Napoleon Dynamite in San Antonio because we lived in Corpus Christi when it came out, and it wasn't playing in Corpus Christi. We drove to San Antonio to see
San Antonio to see it, huh?
all saw it in
How
San
cool.
That
I
is
saw it at the movie theater in the Quarry. Do you know?
I have no idea.
But Travis might know the Quarry Market is just north of downtown.
Oh,
I don't
remember
know.
Quarry Market though.
Between the airport and downtown.
It probably wasn't playing at many places, so
Yeah.
might have seen it in the same theater.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I'm not sure.
So
But I know as soon as they told me about it, I went and saw it.
when they just had the Napoleon Dynamite thing a few weeks ago, did you see any of that?
So I was in Alaska.
Oh, okay.
But my wife helped with some of it, which is funny because she's never seen the movie.
That's awesome.
But I guess they had a prom and everything, and she was helping sell tickets to the prom. And
Wow.
she told me, she was like, oh, if you were here, we could go to the Napoleon Dynamite prom. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I can't be there. But
So yeah, we kind of had a theory, like if you lived away from Idaho, Utah area, you somewhat like Napoleon Dynamite, but if you live there, you may have not even
Maybe
seen it.
didn't see it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Really.
held up pretty well.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we love that movie. I've seen it.
I loved it. Yeah.
Um, did you hang out in Grace at the Turner's Cafe or Bluebell mostly? Or none of-
Bluebell.
Bluebell?
I don't know if I ever even went in Turner's Cafe, but I went to the Bluebell quite a bit.
Yeah.
Mostly to play pool and video games.
All right. Did you eat there or mostly just play games?
Yeah, I ate there. I'm sure that I would always just get a cheeseburger though.
So Kevin, in our last episode, which you haven't seen yet, was referring to something called the Farmer's Special. Do you remember that being an option?
Yeah, I remember that. It was a hamburger that had like a piece of ham and some bacon or something on it. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so we can confirm that it was a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so would you put ketchup on that if you had a Farmer Special?
I would put ketchup on it.
Yeah.
Even with ham? It's got ham on it.
Yeah.
Ketchup's good on almost anything.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have put ketchup on it.
So he's on the pro ketchup.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I don't have many on my team.
Yeah, and now Whataburger has spicy ketchup, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
did
I
you?
mean, I will always take fry sauce over ketchup, you
Okay.
know, but
For sure.
Yeah.
But Sprite now they have spicy fry sauce, which is even taken up a level.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Did you hang out much in Soda or Preston when you were in high school?
So soda, I socialized in soda, you know, quite a bit. But my senior year, I was in Preston at least once a month for National Guard drills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when you said you socialize,
I was struck
Soda.
by that word too. That's an awesome word.
oh, it's about your socializing in Soda.
Well, yeah. So I'd go to keggers and stuff there.
There
Yeah.
you go. There you go. That's what I
Very
wanted to
social.
hear.
Very social.
You're
Where
honest. I
would
like it.
those be? Were they out like on Alexander or
No, you go out in the woods, right?
Yeah.
further out, huh?
There were quite a few of them. You go like you're going towards Montpelier,
Mm-hmm.
out towards Diamond Creek.
Oh,
That
okay.
was a big one. Or if you were going towards 8 Mile, right when you crossed the river, there was a big meadow there that
Okay.
they'd have parties and stuff in. Yeah.
So
Any cops ever interrupt your socializing?
Oh yeah, yeah. So we just run out through the woods and hope that our friends didn't tell on us.
so
They always told on us.
you just have to be faster than the
Right.
guy behind you, huh?
Yeah.
So, tell us these keggers, because I never drank, to be honest. I never drank, but I've been to keggers as the designated driver. Never out by Soda. Were with Grace kids and Soda kids too, or
Yeah.
yeah.
And there would be some around Grace too, you know. There were quite a few parties like that, like up in the beaver dams and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any great kegger stories other than getting chased by the cops?
Come on, Noel. What happens if the kegger stays there?
Yeah, stays at the
That's
keggers.
30 something years ago, so it's okay.
Depends on the.
So they had a kegger at the scout cabin once, and the cops invaded us. And guess who caught me? Mr. Green.
Mr.
No, Mr.
Forgot about
Green.
Mr. Green. This is the first reference to Mr. Green.
Yeah.
Oh, I had took German from Mr. Green.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's right. He was a police officer. He was like a
he was.
deputy or whatever.
We called it a
Yeah,
rent.
he took me down.
I didn't want to say rent a cop out of respect, Nolan, but
Okay, well, again, this is an honest, anything goes show. We talked about keggers. We can talk about rent-a-cops.
yeah.
We
Green.
can talk about driver's ed teachers that punch you in the right shoulder.
I had driver's ed from Mr. Green.
Yeah,
Right. He hated me. I was such a terrible driver. Oh my word.
Yeah.
I was a bad driver. I'm actually surprised that nobody yet has a driver's ed story about me that we've had on.
Well, yeah.
I was terrible.
I don't know. I got punched in the shoulder a few times. So
I'm sure he did that with me too. One time I backed out on a road and I was in reverse, and then I went I went to go forward and I hadn't changed the gear. So he just forward. I think he got me then. I bet he punched me then.
good thing he had that brake on his side.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was like, on the Pocatello trip, he always put like the worst driver of the three drivers in the middle. You got the 2 spot. And I had that 2 spot locked down.
I mean, we could probably do an episode just on Mr. Green, but man, if you were supposed to get up to freeway speed or whatever, highway speed before you get on, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, on the entrance.
If you weren't,
Yeah.
he'd stomp on your foot.
Yep. Yeah, he would. Yeah.
So Mr. Green catching you at the kegger turned into Mr. Green driver's ed stories. That's awesome.
Well, okay, so let's
Yeah.
go back to the kegger. So
Yeah.
what did he
He was
do when he
trying to- Yeah, what did he do?
So he took me home. I got a citation for drinking underage, whatever
under
it was.
consumption or whatever.
Yeah, but they didn't like haul me up to Soda and make my parents come get me. It was pretty funny because I'm like, oh, Mr. Green dropped me off at home. I'm not going to tell my parents about this.
Mr. Green.
And so I managed to not tell my parents, and I paid my fine and everything. Well, I didn't know there was a police section in the newspaper.
Oh yes.
And so my
Oh.
grandma read the newspaper and called my mom and dad, and they were like, what are you doing? But I thought I got away with it, but I didn't.
Did you tell your parents, well, did you ever go to a kegger back in the day?
No. That would have been good though, because I'm pretty sure my dad did for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Those must have been pretty wild.
So your grandma reading it and you hadn't told your parents. Did that make it worse that you hadn't told them?
Yep. It made it a lot worse. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just thinking in my household, I think that would have been the biggest thing. Yeah.
So, and here's the thing. So that was my senior year too. And they took my car and I had to ride my bicycle to school.
From the power plant?
No, because we had moved to town by then. We moved to town in my junior year.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I'd have to ride my bicycle to school as a senior in the military.
Oh man.
What kind of car did you have?
It was an old, like, clunky Buick.
Okay.
It was an old, yeah.
The big, like one of those big boats. It was a
No,
small, medium
I guess
size.
it would be considered mid-size now. Yeah.
Okay. Probably has 6-cylinder in it.
Yeah.
I want to ask so many more questions about the keggers because I just never went. I mean, like I say, I went to one, but oh man, I think it would open a lot of our eyes about what other kids experienced.
Yeah, that's true. There was a whole set of experiences there that I wasn't plugged into. And if I had it to do over again, I don't think I would have drunk, but I probably would have gone though, right? I mean, yeah, just to go and hang out and, like Nolan said, be the designated driver. That's really the thing, right? Is you and I didn't hang out much, Travis.
Right.
Those are missed opportunities for me. That's how I see it now.
Yeah.
They were missed opportunities.
So, were there girls at the kegger, or was it just a bunch of guys? Or
Oh no, there were girls there. There were usually just as many girls as guys.
really, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
The keggers that I went to with one of my friends and his friends, usually it was a bunch of guys just hanging out, having fun.
Sounds like Travis went to the right keggers.
That's with the girls.
If you're gonna socialize, you want it to be co-ed.
So let me ask this, Travis. Let me ask this question. Poor Travis is getting like grilled on this episode, but
No, this is great.
so did you go to the kegger because you were interested in some of the girls that you thought or knew would be there, or you were just going because was a good time?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where the good time was, but that's where the girls were too, you either went to the kegger or you went to the high school dance, but I'm sure the guys that went to the high school dance, which wasn't me,
Yeah.
were kind of there for the same reasons because your friends were there and the girls were there. And yeah.
That's why I was so interested in your experience, because you probably had a completely different high school experience. You know, being an LDS kid, I obviously didn't drink.
Yeah.
So being at the kegger, I don't know, my parents are too old now to even know if I was at a kegger or not, but I was at keggers and still didn't drink. A lot of offering, hey, we'll pour you something. I'm like, sorry, man, I always had the excuse I got to drive somebody home.
Right.
Did you all have DDs, or you just took a chance?
Oh yeah, we just took chances.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't very smart, but
but we were high school.
Yeah, it was kind of that. It was kind of that age too. Even you watch movies from that time, drinking and driving just.
There was no Uber, there was no Lyft or anything like that at that time.
Yeah,
especially in Caribou County.
Right.
So Nolan, do you do like the Saturday morning 2 a.m. Uber thing?
I used to before COVID. I did. I don't do it anymore because I'm more of a daytime driver now. It works better for our family schedule, but. Yeah, I had a lot of stories.
That's a really good point. That's a big time.
I used to, before COVID, I'd start my day around 10:30 or 11 in the morning and work all the way until the bars close around 2. And so once things settled down, it might be 2:30, 3, 4 in the morning by the time I got home. Then I'd go to sleep and wake up again at 10:30.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know we love Uber. Like when you go to a city and you want to go somewhere and you don't know how to get there, it's just so great. Just call Uber and
Yeah,
it's funny that you brought
one of the greatest
we went
things
to
ever.
California in March and we just Ubered everywhere.
I picked up this guy today, these 2 Canadian guys, and taking them from their hotel to the airport. And as the guys got out of the car, he's like, "Oh, what size is your shirt?" And I'm like, "XL." He's like, "I got this shirt. I can't fit it in my luggage, so it's yours."
Wow.
Like, I've never got tipped a t-shirt before, but today I got tipped a t-shirt.
That's awesome. What's the t-shirt? Does it have like a company logo on it or something?
Yeah, it's their company. It's some kind of computer security program company. I never heard of it before, but
that's
awesome.
A
free t-shirt. So, but yeah, it's an interesting. I mean, we could make whole videos about Uber riders and crazy stuff, but it's awesome. I just feel safer in the daytime, and
sure, for sure.
Sleep schedule gets messed up. So, oh man, thanks for sharing. The kegger stuff was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Speaking of lost opportunities, I was at the dances not getting girls, and I could have been at keggers not getting girls. So
yeah, I mean that's what I was doing, was at the kegger not getting girls. At least you were at the dance not getting girls. I couldn't pick up the drunk girls.
Which failure is worse? Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, those are good stories. Let's see. How do we get on that one?
Soda in Preston.
I lost my place.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah. So Preston was work with the National Guard. Soda was socializing.
Yeah. I think we found out you were in Soda, or in the outskirts of Soda, and we were in Soda trying to knock over garbage cans with our cars. So
that's true. That was definitely not co-ed.
Sometimes it was.
Was it?
Didn't you hear? I think Shelley said in her episode that they were also knocking. They were in Bancroft,
but it was just girls, no guy.
No, that's true. But they probably learned.
We didn't. No, we didn't do that stuff co-ed. A bunch of girls would do it, and a bunch of guys would do it. We wouldn't. I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
We'll see. Did you go to Pokemore or Logan?
Pokey, for sure. Yeah.
Any keggers in Pokey?
Never went to any keggers in Pokey, but there was a pool hall in Old Town Pokey. There was plenty of trouble there, So if there wasn't a kegger in Soda, you could just always go to the Old Town pool hall.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, did they check you? Like they wouldn't ID or?
Yeah, so it wasn't a bar. They didn't serve alcohol.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought you were saying like there was other.
Okay.
What kind of trouble? You said trouble. I was thinking of.
Well, you had to sneak your own alcohol in.
Okay, I think that's what I was. I think that's what you were getting at, but I couldn't
Yeah.
put the two
And
and two together.
there are college dudes there, probably. Imagine.
Probably, yeah.
Very good.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
let's ask one more question before we move on. County Fair, Caribou County Fair. What was that to you?
Looking back, I don't really see that it was all that important from where I am now. But growing up there, I mean, that's what we looked forward to. You'd see the fair coming in and you'd get excited, and it was cool. They had horse pulls and tractor pulls, and the carnival was there, and you could spend all that money that you made moving pipe, trying to win stuffed animals and t-shirts and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my
so it
God.
was important then, but looking back on it, I'm not sure that it was all that important to me.
Did you try to get I imagine they had a Metallica T-shirt or a Motley Crue T-shirt that you could win
Yeah,
back
I
in those.
never won anything, you know. Just I just gave them my money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Very
fun.
good. All right. So now
Okay.
we're gonna ask some finishing questions here. Travis, is there something else we don't know about you that we haven't
Yeah. I like Shakespeare.
Oh,
oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And that probably goes back to Mrs. Thursby too, because I think we read Romeo and Juliet in freshman English.
yeah.
And I was like, this is dumb. But then as seniors, I think we were seniors in Mrs. Thursby's class, we read Julius Caesar. So, and I kind of got hooked on Shakespeare at that point, and then read a whole bunch of different plays once I got out of high school. Then I married Rebecca, and it just turns out that her whole family, they're Shakespeare nerds.
Oh wow.
And so, in Cedar City,
yeah.
they do a Shakespeare festival where they're doing off-Broadway
Mhm.
productions, and we go to that, and then they have those literary discussions.
Wow.
And it's probably the nerdiest thing I've ever done, and really enjoyed it, So, yeah.
So you dress up with the chainmail and all that stuff?
No, so when Rebecca said we're going to the Shakespeare Festival, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking Renaissance Fair, and I was like,
Oh,
I ain't going. Yeah,
yeah. Shakespeare's
but
not
it's
that, isn't it?
it's
This
not.
is like
And
an
so
egghead
these are
thing.
It's
Yeah.
like a
yeah,
nice,
they've got
nice
these
event.
cool theaters there, and they bring Broadway actors in, and it goes on all summer long, and then they have discussions about the plays and stuff. It's something to see.
I've
you
read
know.
about that. I haven't ever been, but yeah, they
Yeah.
do like they set them in different time periods, or they'll do a replica
Mhm.
of the Shakespearean theater of the
Yeah.
time. They'll do all this,
Yeah.
like you said, experimental stuff too. Sounds really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I would never have guessed. So that was
Oh,
a good one.
that's the
That was a
best.
good one.
What don't this probably the second best. What don't we know about you? Shelley's truck driving is still
Oh yeah.
biggest
Isn't
shot.
that awesome?
But this is right there. That's awesome. So sounds like you've been been to Grace recently.
I have probably a month ago. I went through there and picked up my brother, and we went up to Alexander fishing. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
What did you
That's
catch
so
over there?
what's your impression of the place? Has it changed a lot? Has it not changed? What's your impression?
It has changed a lot. It seems like there's fewer people there. The Bluebell, the whole building, it's gone. They've got the 3C grill there. There used to be a hardware store there,
Mhm.
And you can still go in the easy way, but it's just not quite the same, Kent Corbett doesn't own it. And
Right. Kent was an icon.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it was a hangout.
Yeah.
It was like where people congregate there in then
Yeah.
Bailey's,
yeah,
Mhm.
they had the wood
Yeah.
stove, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm. That's
So
interesting.
it's changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And Lance lives in Grace?
He does, just south of Grace, right on
Okay.
the highway there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does he do?
So he is a safety manager. He worked with Brooks Jensen for a long time out of Degstrom, and then he just took a job. They've got him going all over the country
Hmm.
doing safety,
Oh,
industrial hygiene stuff. Yeah.
Driving a truck around.
okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. So with the passage of time, I think you've talked about this, but as time has passed, what does growing up in Grace mean to you?
So it means a lot. And we have talked about it, and you've talked about like moving pipe and stuff in all the episodes, and the amount we work. There's a culture that exists in Grace where, kids work. And I mean, they shut the schools down so we could go work till like 1 a.m. in the potatoes, as 13-year-olds.
Yeah. People
And
don't believe
so-
me when I tell people that. They
Yeah.
don't like, yeah, it's true.
And so I go out into the world, and I just, and I'm able to work through difficulties and rough conditions and being tired. Actually, when I was at Halliburton, I got an HR complaint against me. I was a supervisor on a frac crew. We had a guy that just would never carry his weight. So when it came time to move locations, we'd pair off. And I would always pick this guy that didn't carry his weight to work with me, and we'd take our breaks and everything. And he turned me into HR, said I was being mean. Go to conflict resolution. We're in there. And I just told the HR people, I'm like, the guy's underperforming. And when he works with me, he does as much as anyone else on the crew. And my manager looked right at me and he said, not everybody can be an Idaho farm boy.
Oh, wow. Wow. So
Yeah.
that's the way to, so he didn't take he complimented you, but he didn't take your side necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in that case, being an Idaho farm boy paid off, but for Mr.
It
Green,
did.
Mr. Green hated us farm boys that had been driving since we were 4 years old because we already had
Yeah.
bad habits established, and he couldn't break our bad
Uh-huh.
habits.
And I just saw a group the last 2 days of Idaho farm boys, because I'll do CDL instructor classes
Oh,
here
wow.
on my days off. And I just had a group of Idaho farm guys that went and took their test, and like they're already ready to take their skills test. They don't need to spend 6 weeks at Bridgerland or whatever. So, and what we do just kind of provides an avenue. But you're right. These guys, are 20, 21 years old and have 7 or 8 years of driving experience.
If you can back up a manure spreader,
Yeah,
you can back up a semi-trailer.
it's so true. Yeah.
See, that's where I was always a fish out of water because I couldn't do any of that. My dad does all that stuff. But I couldn't do any of that stuff. I couldn't drive. I didn't learn to drive a manual until later on. I didn't know.
Travis, what would you think if Shelly showed up in your CDL class?
Dude, that would be so cool.
That just blew
Yeah.
my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's great, I think it's great that she does that. And
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
she's a farm girl. She grew up
yeah,
That's
driving
very
tractors
doesn't it?
and
Yeah.
stuff, driving trucks,
Yeah.
hauling a horse trailer and stuff. So
There is this sense of, hey, I can do that, that
there is.
comes out of places like Grace. Even with me, I didn't know how to do those things, but I don't think it's even come up on the podcast, but in the summertime, I'm a college professor. And in the summertime, I work for a roofing company managing roofing projects, which might by some people, but yeah, so I'm a
Yeah.
contractor too. And
Yeah.
when the guys who own the company offered me to do it, I'm like, I can probably do that. I can learn that. I'm from Grace. I can probably be a contractor.
Yeah, for sure. Just doing all that stuff and working unsupervised and being resourceful, and that's stuck with me my whole life. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of valuable employees come out of Grace for the work ethic. I think that's
Sure. Mm-hmm.
so. What would you do differently, Travis? If you could go back and do something differently.
So there's some people that I could have treated better, and I won't go into any detail. I don't want to, create embarrassment or awkwardness for anybody. But me and one of my friends had a falling out our senior year, and I definitely regret my part in that, and so I would do that differently, but having that experience later in life when similar situations have come up, it's allowed me to make different decisions.
I think, Travis, this podcast to me, one of the reasons I wanted to do it was a little bit selfish. I wanted to be able to apologize kind of in a blanketed way to people and just say, you know what, I'm sorry.
Sure.
If I was,
Yeah.
if I was
Yeah.
just a jerk
Yeah.
to people, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah.
jerk, So I guess we can do that. We can just say, you know what, if I ever offended you or was rude to you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. Me too. But ultimately, thinking about it right now, if I could go back and do it all over again, I wouldn't.
You'd
You
do the
know,
same.
Right.
I wouldn't,
Or
because
school
I
day?
mean,
Bigger.
the older I've gotten, the better life gets, right? At least for me, and I hope for everyone, honestly. But like right now, I have this great wife. I've got great kids, a nice home. I love living in Preston, and to risk that, to go back and maybe right a small wrong, even though I have some regret, I wouldn't give up what I have now to go back and change something.
That's great. Yeah. Leading right into that, how do you feel like you've changed from back then?
Well, now this goes me now back to Kegger Travis,
That would be a good trucker
Did we
handle.
call you that?
Yeah.
I hope we didn't call you.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm such a rule follower now, like I drive 2 miles an hour under the speed limit,
That's just
never
being
after
something you
never
do.
after attending a kegger. Which those activities are way behind me, but that's the biggest way I've changed is I don't even push the rules. I accept them and I follow them and kind of go along with it.
Why do you think that is? Like, you just realize at some point I have to grow up, or I have to mature, or I have to be a rule follower to get, the way our
It's probably Mrs. Harris's mean face,
you want to see that mean face
You see
anymore.
it in your mind's eye.
Yeah. Well, it just seems like life is smoother when you're following the rules. There's much more freedom and ability and less worry and less stress. Follow the rules, get along with people, be helpful when you can,
Yeah.
and that's a big change from when I was, Kegger Travis.
So if you could go back as 2024 Travis and get 15 minutes with Kegger Travis and tell him that, how do you think Kegger Travis would have responded?
He might just get a kick right in the pockets,
Skip the speech.
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's a good
Skip
one.
the speech.
Taking from Brett's episode, would Kegger Travis pour you a certain drink that would be appropriate for the situation? Just one drink.
No,
No.
probably not. Yeah, it's just, as we get older, it's just better to have healthy habits, and so, yeah, I don't think that I would go back and say, hey, come on over here, we're gonna, Kegger Travis, we're gonna do a shot of flaming tequila and talk about, what's going wrong in your life right now.
Oh, Kegger Travis. That's amazing nickname.
That's awesome.
But Kegger Travis is not Kegger Travis anymore.
That's right. Well, it's been a pleasure to be able to talk with you, Travis.
Yeah, this has been
and,
great. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
welcome. I'm dying to hear that guitar too. Don't forget
no,
about that.
yeah, please
Okay.
send us a sound bite and we'll put that in.
Okay. I'll do it right now.
Cool. Yeah, I was looking so forward to this because, it's one thing to reconnect with people that I felt really connected with in high school and then dropped away from, but I didn't super feel connected with you past maybe our Cub Scout days. And so
Sure.
looking forward to this even more. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous right now. You're within minutes of my parents' house, and I'm 22 hours away from them. So
Oh yeah.
not their house, but where they live. So
where they live. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a great part of the country.
they're well taken care of.
We don't have to tell you. You appreciate it.
Yeah.
Preston is beautiful. I love Preston. Yeah, it's a nice place.
Me too.
It's been great to catch up, and you got some great stories.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing.
Can't wait.
You bet. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
We'll be in touch.
Bye.
Everyone seems a damn genius lately. TikTok talking, late night TV. There's still so much I have yet to know.